The Florida housing market is crashing. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm sure you've heard that headline so many times now, and it's probably getting old at this point, but we are seeing a little bit of a shift, something a little bit different this time around, and kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to let January just kind of brew a little bit to see what happens on February with inventory. So let's get into the numbers here, and we can start digging into what's happening right now. Not currently, but in February's housing market report. I am going to be going through quite a bit of amount of data today. We're not just going to look at active inventory and the price points. We're also going to look at foreclosures and short sales, what's on the market right now, and see where that's going. And so I appreciate you guys being here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me right now. If there's anything you guys need real estate wise, give me a phone call, 407-801-1661. Be happy to help you out. If you're looking to buy, sell, if you need anyone looking for a general contractor or a cleaning service, anything of that nature, I'm here to help you out. So without further ado, let's get into the numbers because we got quite a bit to dig into today. Go through the hard numbers and percentages first. We're going to start with Florida, and then after that we're going to go to the Tampa area where I'm at, and also the Orlando market. We're going to be breaking down the hard numbers and percentages, and after that we're going to do a little bit something different. We're going to look at some data statistics from Lance Lambert from ResiClub. He's got some quite interesting data that I want to go over between peak pricing in 2022 to currently, and then also migration data that is it's surprising me a little bit on how much people have been moving in the past couple of years, and actually the past year, and prices are still either stable or going up. So I found that kind of interesting. So let's get on with it. Closed sales, we are down 7% from 19,040 to 17,698. So we can see the demand is going down year over year. Cash sales were down 9.2% from 6,020 to 5,467. Cash sales as a percentage of closed sales were down 2.2% from 31.6 to 30.9. Median sales price for the state of Florida, we are flat right now. And it's going to be interesting to see what goes on for the rest of the year as we're getting into the spring selling season. So we're at $415,000 flat year over year. The average sales price, though, did go up to 11.6% from $585,701 to $653,350. Median percent of original list price, so what the seller is asking for, the original price versus what they actually accepted. So we're down 0.7% year on year from 96.2% to 95.5%. So as you can see that they're overpricing their homes just a little bit, there. And since we got prices kind of going flat, but again, the median is in the middle. What's, from above it and below is right in the middle. It's not the average. The average is actually still increasing. So that's been interesting to see. Median time to contract, we're up 14.9% from 47 days to 54 days. Median time to sale, they're up 3.3% from 90 days to 93 days. New pending sales, we are down 6.6% from 24,986 to 23,344. New listings were up 2.9% from 32,557 units to 33,504. Pending inventory, we're down 10.7% from 34,420 to 30,748. So you can see the demand there dropping off as well. Active inventory, we are up 31.6% from 84,943 to 111,827. And our months of supply, we are up 35.9% from 3.9 months to 5.3 months. So now we're going to get into the new listings. I wanted to see some history on this to see, kind of where the market's shifting, to kind of just see if this is a normal activity throughout the year between January and February. And so we'll go through this together here. And you see last year, January, February, we kind of popped up. This year, we actually went down in new listings just a little bit. Let's keep going back here. January, February ticked up. And then January, February ticked up. January, February, we went down. February 22 for obvious reasons. January, February 2019, we went down. January, February 18, we went down. January, February went teetering down. A little bit of pop up there, but it almost seems like and this is why I wanted to let this brew to see what we can see would be more of a normal balanced market. And that's what I say buyers are getting more leverage now, which is great. They're able to negotiate on terms and on the pricing as well, which is really good for them. So I wanted to see, what this data is telling us about how more balanced the market is becoming. I wouldn't say it's a buyer's market, but it is definitely becoming more of a balanced, normal market where buyers are definitely able to negotiate. So the entire active inventory here for the state of Florida, we did tick up again from January to February from 107,161 to 111,827. And if you can go back here, we are pretty much back to July of 2012 active inventory. Keep moving forward here. So again, we're breaking down the sales price here in the entire state of Florida between the low end, the 200 to 250,000, 300,000, and then 300,000 all the way up. And then so we're going to look at that for all sales types, and we're going to just switch this up a little bit so we get a little more context on where the inventory is at. So you can see here, the green line is the most, and this is where where your median and your maybe just more actually the average sales price is actually just ticking up in this range here. And also, so the median is coming in more here because that's where most of the inventory is at. And then also, also above and below of, if you remember what we just saw before, the other price points are really low and these are higher. So this is what's keeping that median more steady instead of bringing it down because there's not much active inventory on the market below this level. We'll just switch this up again one more time so we can see. Let's take away this one and go that way. So as you can see, this is why the median is where it's at, because there's just not much transacting, at these lower price points. 100 and 150,000. There's not very many, houses for sale in the entire state. So it's a 696. 150 to 200,000, you're at 1,975, and then 200,000 to 50,000, let's call it, 4,302. So if you see, the differences and where the inventory is at, most of it is in either the luxury or in the median, essentially. But as you can see, this is where your price pressures are going to come in because we have just as much inventory in these price points as back in 2008. So there's room in negotiation in this price points because we have so much inventory here. So that is one thing to keep in mind when we are, this is for the entire state. So obviously it's more hyper local, that's something to look at and compare. But as a state, you'll have a little more price pressure here in that range. Now we're going to go into the single family homes. We're going to be looking at traditional against foreclosure and against the short sales. So if we scroll on up, you can see here, this blue line, the traditional, we're at 110,929. That's right on par. Let's go back to, what did I say, it was 110. So we're back at July 2009, August 2009. Back there, as far as active inventory completely that is just a traditional sale, not anything under distress. But if you see here the foreclosures and short sales, you can see that the big rise here in the short sales, especially. Foreclosures definitely took up, but the short sales is what really took over back in 2008 to 2012. And so let's just go to the peak here of August of 2010, we got 58,514 short sales. Right now we are at 394 for the entire state. So that gives you some context of how distressed the market is currently. If you don't know that Florida is a 2-year, it is a non-judicial state, so that means it takes 2 years for us to foreclose on a property here. So that's what it takes some time. So this could actually start ticking up as time goes by, but again, it's years. So we'll see how sharp and how quickly this line can go up. But I'm actually really surprised, the first time I saw this data, that the foreclosures isn't as much as I thought it was going to be, but the short sales is really, where a lot of the people were underwater right here in this line. You can see the distress in there. And so the median sales price, we are up to 415,000. From the peak, we were at 429.9. So there's just a little bit of price, about what, 14 grand, almost 15 grand. So about $15,000 away from the peak. Not too much, in my opinion. From price wise, to keep me at least off the sidelines of worrying about from buying at the peak. But everyone's got their point of entry and their situation is different. So always be sure to know your reason for buying and why you're buying, and if it makes sense for you. And when it makes sense is when you can afford it. You're securing your job and your atmosphere and all that. As far as when I say atmosphere, is just your household and your life and your lifestyle and all that stuff. Definitely don't want to be house poor, because there's a lot of stories out there. People are house poor now, and it's unfortunate that they can't do much. So let's get back into the Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater market. Percentage change for closed sales, we're down 4.9% from 3,024 to 2,877. Cash sales, we are up 3.5% from 819 to 848. Cash sales as a percentage of closed sales, we are up 8.9% from 27.1% to 29.5%. Median sales price, we are down 1.2% from 405,000 to 339,990. And I think as cash sales increase at this point in the market, at this point of the cycle, as cash sales start rising, it's going to be more on the distress side. It's going to start pulling that median sales price down. It's probably going to be in the probably low threes, high twos, maybe mid threes that are getting the cash offers there. So as that gets transacted in cash, being able to buy out the seller, close the transaction quickly for them, that's going to help bring this price down. But we will see what happens in the future. Average sales price, we are up 2.4% from $500,798 to $512,783. Median percent of original list price, we are down just 0.5% from 96.3 to 95.8%. Median time to contract, we are up 10% from 40 days to 44 days. Median time to sale, we are down 4.5% from 88 days to 84 days. New pending sales, we're up 0.4% from 3,613 to 3,626. New listings, we are up 0.4% from 4,581 to 4,598. I'm kind of surprised that that's not as many as I thought it was going to be at this point, but it is a little early. So we'll see how that goes throughout the year. It should start ticking up here as spring comes in here in April. Pending inventory, we're down 5.8% from 4,913 to 4,626. Active inventory, we are up 33.7% from 9,222 to 12,329. And the months of supply of inventory, that is up 35.7% from 2.8 months to 3.8 months. All right, so now we're going to look at the new listings here and see if it has any kind of correlation with the rest of the state. So from January, we ticked down. Let's keep going here. January from 23 to February, that ticked down. January to February 22, it just went down just a little bit. Let's see, January, February 21, just a little bit of an increase. January 22 to February 22, we ticked down a little bit. In January 19, February ticked down. Same thing in 18, same thing in 17. Let's see. 2016 though, we did have quite a big increase, and look at this right here. 3 straight months, actually 4 grand December of going straight up of inventory. So that's interesting to see there. And then January from February ticked up a little bit in 15. January to February in 14, we ticked down a little bit. January to February of 13, we went down just a little bit. And then January, February, we just ticked a little bit. So this is, I would say, again, kind of with the rest of the state, it is kind of the same, but a little bit different. Every housing market is going to be different, especially to the local area. But just wanted to see what that looks like, to see if, again, normalizing in the market. And to me, it does look like there's a bit of a normalization outside of this 2016 year period there. let's keep going here. So active inventory here in the Tampa Bay area. We did go up just a little bit from 12,078 units from January of 2025 to 12,329. So just a little slight uptick in inventory here in the Tampa Bay area. Now let's break it down through the prices again. So we'll see here 200,000 to 250,000, we're at 511 on the market. 250 to 300,000, you're at 1,017 units. And then once we get to 300,000 to about 400,000, that actually ticked down a little bit. I feel like this is what got absorbed again. This is probably what dropped that median sales price down, is this getting absorbed, because this is probably the most affordable housing, quote unquote affordable housing that people can afford right now. That's the mostly what's on the market that people can afford. And we have 400,000 to 600,000, and that inventory is ticking up. We'll change it up again like we did last time for the states, so you can see what's going on through those prices. And so again, the luxury, it's ticking up as well. And I'm gonna guess that later this year this is gonna start getting absorbed, and so is the 600 to 900, almost $1 million mark. If the cash sales are starting to go there, and maybe this too. So these might start rolling over if cash sales keep increasing, possibly. And then let's just go to let's check these out right here, just to see what we got on the market, because I'm really interested to see if there's been, I'm actually kind of surprised there's not more inventory given the hurricane. So we were ticking up just a little bit. Again, you have the 250 to 300,000 just slightly moved a little bit sideways. We ticked down a little bit from 200 to 250, and again, there's not much inventory from 100,000 to 150, and the 150 to $200,000 mark. So there's not much inventory there compared to back in 2008. It was 6,613 units or houses on the market for between 150 to 200,000. So it is a big gap there that we have between now and then. So let's keep moving forward. So now we're going to be looking at the traditional foreclosure and short sales here for the Tampa Bay area, and kind of relative to the rest of the state. We had a lot of short sales here back between 2008 and 2012. In comparison, we'll go to the peak again, August 2010, 9,033. And right now we're at 63 short sales. So there's not very many on the market in comparison. So I don't see any market crash happening. I'm sorry guys, like if you're a buyer, unless something drastic happens, I'm not saying prices can't come down, they probably will come down, and I think there will be a reversion to the mean, as I said before. Again, maybe a 10 to 15, maybe 20% correction, maybe 20% correction, but there's gonna have to have some pretty big economic impacts to make this happen. So we'll see what happens with this short sale and the foreclosure inventory that moves into the future. But there's just a lot of that. The housing market's going to crash out, and I was part of that group. I'll be honest with you guys. Like before I got my real estate license and I had access to this data, I followed a lot of the inventory charts that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people in the media are pushing out. And I get it. We see this inventory. This is what's the traditional inventory, right? As we go back here before. Here, we're back to 2012 inventory levels, 2015, you know what I mean? We're back there, but what's on the market and what's in distress, there's not much of there yet, and there's still a lot of people moving here. So, like I said, I used to be one of those people where I did think a crash was gonna happen until I actually had access to this data, and that made me change my mindset. And again, I'm not saying that nothing will or won't happen in the future, but currently, as of today, when people says that the Florida housing market is crashing, I don't see it. It's not there, and it's what the market dictates, guys. People love living in Florida. This is a great place to live, and so with that demand, that amount of demand coming in, the economy is changing between, what people were working back in these times, and also the mortgage structure back then is different from right now. So, unless they're hiding something that I'm not aware of, I don't see it happening anytime soon. maybe in the next few years, maybe 2030, you know, like it's no one really no one knows, no one has a crystal ball, but to say it's crashing today, sorry, but no, it's not. So let's move on to Orlando and Kissimmee and the Sanford area into Central Florida. Closed sales, we were down 10.7% from 2,221 to 1,984. Cash sales, we are down 10.6% from 547 to 489. Cash sales as a percentage of closed sales, we are flat at 24.6%. Median sales price, we're actually up 1.2% from $434,945 to $440,000 flat. And I'm telling you guys, like what we're seeing too is we're seeing people moving off from the coastal areas and moving more centralized to the state. So I can definitely see Central Florida, Orlando, actually prices probably continue to increase very slowly, not much, a normal market inventory price gain, 2 to 3%, sometimes 4%. That's what a normal traditional price appreciation is year over year. What we saw over the course of the past, well, from 2020 to 2023, low mortgage interest rates and everyone was shut down, everyone was moving, and there was a lot of demand, so it shot up quickly, and that was that's. Even if you compare that next to 2002 all the way to 2008, that price gain, 2006, that price gain isn't even as steep as it is right now. But it's just one of those things where where if people are, and I understand, they're moving from the coast to Central Florida because of the hurricanes, and and that's why I wanted to stay in Central Florida, was for that reason, to get away from the hurricanes. But honestly, there's so much that goes around that eye of the storm, the tornadoes and the thunder strike, the lightning strikes, fires and all that stuff. Like there's a lot that goes on outside of that eye, and it's not just the wind and the rain. It's a combination of a lot of things. So once you start getting into Central Florida, it does start dying down a little bit compared to being right there on the coast. So I do think that the Central Florida market could increase in pricing as the coastal areas are decreasing. But we will see again in the future. I'm not a fortune teller. I do not know, but I do know that demand is starting to move towards the Central Florida markets. And when demand increases and inventory gets absorbed, prices go up. Maybe not a lot, but they go up. So the average sales price, though, this one had a huge increase, 49.3% from $519,507 to $775,453. And that again is showing how much out of Central Florida real estate money is moving in, pushing in this average sales price. Dollar volume, we are up 33.3% from 1.2 billion to 1.5 billion. Median percent of original list price, we're down 0.8% from 97.1% to 96.3%. Median time to contract, we are up 30.8% from 39 days to 51 days. Median time to sale, we are up 11.9% from 84 days to 94 days. New pending sales, we're down 10.2% from 2,716 to 2,440. New listings were up 6% from 3,171 to 3,361. Pending inventory, we're down 11.2% from 3,681 to 3,269. Active inventory, we are up 42.6% from 6,743 to 9,613. And the months of supply, we are up 46.4% from 2.8 months of supply to 4.1 months of supply. So let's get into the new listing data here for the Central Florida market of Orlando. So we see again, January to February, we ticked down. In 24 though, we had a kind of what we had in 2016 in the Tampa area, a little bit of an increase, not a straight shot, but still increasing in inventory last year. Same thing in 23, obviously 22 before interest rates shot up, like, really, really quick, at the fastest rate I've ever seen. So February 21, a little bit sideways, just a hair tick up by about 40 units or so. And then in 22, again, we ticked up just a little bit. And then also February, January ticking up, January, February ticking up. So, January, February ticking up, and then January 5th, January, February 15 we ticked down, 14 we ticked down, and 13 we ticked down. So it's been interesting to see, again, I'm sure we're going to see more inventory come to the market as the spring selling season comes in. It's just going to be interesting to see if we have this spike or kind of one of these slopes. So it'll be interesting to see, and time will tell where new listings come from and how much of them are there. So active inventory, all sales types and all price points. I'm gonna see, we're gonna be going back. I should have went back further, guys, sorry. Okay, so we are at 9,613 units. Again, that's back to, October, November, December of 2015. And if you wanted to skip back, well, we're all the way even lower, 2014. You can see this roller coaster ride down, dipping on the trough here and then moving back up in inventory from 2012 to 2014. And prices increased that year. So just because active inventory is increasing doesn't necessarily mean that prices will come down. It's the housing market is a little bit, it's been interesting studying the housing market the past 5 years. Like I said before, I got my license, and kind of being on the outside and now being on the inside, seeing how, the market kind of just does what the psychology of people do. And they're not much, it's sticky. The housing is a lot more sticky than people might think. So keep that in mind as well when you're looking or buying this for a seller home. All right, so now we're gonna go into the active inventory, different price points. If you can see here, the 400,000 to 600,000 mark, we are well above 2008 levels. We had, let's see, at the peak, 2,481. Today, we have 3,599. So again, here's going to be where your price pressure is going to be at with the most inventory on the market here. And as you can see, again, the 300,000 and 400,000, that ticked down a little bit as well. That got absorbed. And then the 600,000 to $1 million, that ticked up as well. 250 to 300, that's increasing a little bit too. And I'm going to also say that there's a possibility that this 300,000 to 400,000 mark, that went down not just because of absorption, but also probably because of price decreases. And this is also can tick this up too, because if this is now, let's say, from 300,000 to just $299,999, this is going to tick up that inventory. So just that $1 amount change, if you're right there on that borderline, this can cause this line to increase as price decreases happen. So let's switch it up a little bit and take this out, add the million, just because it's fun to see what's in the luxury, super luxury. So there's not very many houses on the market there for the super luxury, the luxury there, 993. Now let's go switch this up down to 100,000 to 300,000. And so you can see here again how much inventory we had back in those price points during 2008 through the Great Recession all the way to 2012. Let's see, the peak of $150,000 to $200,000. We had 5,529, and right now we are at 86. So not, let me see, that's right. Yes, this is green. Yep. So 86. Not very many houses on the market right there. And again, why there can't be a housing crash at this moment, at this current time. There is a lot of economic changes that are happening. Student loans are going to be kicking in. The credits are going to start reflecting non-payment. So people's credit scores will be adjusted according to how they make that a priority, which could cause demand to come back down because now they're no longer able to qualify because of their credit score. So there's going to be a normalization, not just in the housing market, a balanced housing market, but also economically. We're returning to the mean, if you will, about payments and how things were structured before everything went on pause. All right, the next chart. Again, we're looking at all price points. We're looking at traditional, foreclosure, and short sale. So you can see here again, wow, there's a lot of short sale in Orlando. We even crossed the line on traditional back then. So you see a lot of the distressed properties here again in 2008, again with the mortgage structure and the Nina loans and all that stuff, the Ninja loans, sorry. Let's get a peek here at August 2010, 8,632 short sales, 41 as of today. So not very many. And foreclosures, let's check out the peak, 2,847, and currently we're at 55. So as of right now, there's not much distress. People aren't being forced to sell. Until that happens, we're gonna have a balanced market. All right, so now let's get into Lance Lambert's data here. This is the home price shifts from America's 50 largest metro area housing markets. If you haven't subscribed to ResiClub, I highly recommend you do it. He has great analytics, and he's got a free newsletter and also a paid subscription service as well. It is definitely worth at least adding him on LinkedIn or somewhere on social media if you're not too nerdy with housing market data as I am. But he's one of the best housing analysts I have seen, puts out a lot of data, has a lot of conversations with everybody in the industry. Highly recommend you follow Lance Lambert. So we're going to focus on the Florida market because this is Florida. So let's go down to where I am at. Tampa, St. Pete, Petersburg, Clearwater. So month over month, there's going to be some discrepancy in data. I'm not sure how Lance gets all his data, but I get mine from SunStats. That's what we use here for Florida realtors. So I'd actually be interested to have that conversation, maybe, or just ask him that question, how he comes up with his numbers and these price points compared to how the real Florida realtors do, because everyone's statistics a little bit different, from Zillow to Redfin, from Realtor.com. So not everything is super accurate, but I try to just keep it in the Florida realtors in the SunStats, so that way I feel like, in my opinion, would probably be the most accurate. So I would be interested to know where Lance is getting all these, how he calculates these numbers. But either way, month over month, we're down 0.7%. Year over year, we're down 3.6%. And then the market shift from peak, we're down 6%. But if you see since March of 2020, we're up 52.6%. So people still have a lot of equity in their homes right now. In Jacksonville, Florida, month over month, we're down 0.4%. Year over year, we're down 1.5%. And we have seen from peak 5.5%, but still a total of 46.4% increase in prices. Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford, we're month over month, we're down 0.4%. Year over year, we're down 1.4%. And then from the peak, we're only down 0.9%. And they're up 48.8% there. Now, the big one, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, Florida. Month over month, they're down 0.4%. Year over year, they're down 0.2%. But the shift in peak, they're still up 6.5%. And the Miami market is a strong market. It is a very desirable, very rich area. And, the wealthiest of the wealthy live in this market right here. And so we'll see how resilient Miami can be. And then the Broward, Miami-Dade County over there. So let's keep going into the migration data, because this was really interesting in my opinion. So I did the math on this, and I wanted to share with you the total numbers because I found it interesting how if you can see here in the Florida markets, we'll start where I'm at. Actually, no, let's just start with Miami, because this was, let's save that one for later. Let's just save that one for later. So we'll go to Hillsborough County. I'm actually in this county. We're at, let's see here. So we have, you see these numbers here where people are moving in from 2018 to 2014. We had about 9,500 people in 2018, 9,200 people in 2019, 5,500 people in 2020, 11,700 people in 21, 15,886 in 22. In 23, there was about 3,500 people. And in 2024, 11,000 people, 11,000 people left the county. So that was really interesting to see. Let's see, I think I did see Orange County, Florida. Yep, right here, Orange County, Florida. So that's going to be Orlando proper. And you can see this is what I found really interesting was Orange County, Orlando. And you see the migration, it is actually decreasing. So 2018, you had about 250 people move out. 2019, you had 3,333 people move out. 2020, you had 869 people move out. In 2021, you had 14,365 people move out. 22, we had 5,143 people move in, and then 7,044 people leave the county. So migration's negative almost all these years besides 2020, and overall, in 2024, there is just about 18,000 people that moved in. So we're gonna move now. So Broward County, again, negative numbers all across the board, and so is Miami-Dade County. And what's really interesting is because we saw so much migration here, I'm really confused as to what to make of this data, because it's either the people who used to be able to afford these counties can no longer afford it, and now they've moved away. And my guess is people from Miami-Dade County, Orange County, moved to the Hillsborough County, and other counties around Florida that aren't here on this map, where they're more affordable. If you see Palm Beach County, right, they're up every year, where the other ones are going down. More affordable housing markets. So what it tells me is that not necessarily just because people are leaving, prices have to come down. It's really the type of people, how much they make, their income is what actually influences the market, not exactly how many people live there or the demand of it. It's just who can afford it. And really that's about it, is what I can tell from this data, is if you got money, it's not an issue. It doesn't matter how many people leave or how many people come in. I mean, more people come in, obviously price is going to move up. But if more people are coming in, are going out, and more rich people are moving in, wealthier people are moving in, then that can still influence your prices there. So I found that really interesting to see. Just so I can break down the math to you. Where's that sheet at? Okay, so I started in 2020 and all the way to 24 because of obviously the pandemic, right? I wanted to make sure we got the mass migration that happened throughout those couple of years. So Palm Beach County, they are up 12,621. Hillsborough County, we're up 25,373. Orange County, they're down 35,232. Duval County, they're up 17,180. Broward County, they're down 66,748. And Miami-Dade County, they're down 204,888 people over the course of those years. Now, I think this math is right. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, add all these together and that's my total number. That's how I would imagine the math is mathing, right? If you were to take 2020 minus 21, minus 22, 23, so on and so forth, that should give me my numbers. If I'm wrong, please leave it in the comments. I would love to, be corrected on this if there is something to correct, because I really did find this migration data really interesting. And again, I didn't cover Duval County as I was reading the sheet, but again, relatively more affordable area to live, Duval County. Got 3,700 people moving in, 2,900 people moving in, 1,300 people moving in, 1,400 people moving in 21, 8,700 people moving in 22, 4,500 moving in 2023, and just over 1,100 in 2024. So what I think I'm going to do on my next housing report, or maybe just something in the middle, is break down these counties, look at the prices, look at the transactions, and see, if there's a possibility of what I think is right, is if the people who move from these what used to be affordable counties, not necessarily affordable, but the locals there in that area, what was affordable, moving away into these more affordable areas. So I thought that was interesting. I appreciate Lance, presenting all this data to us. There's a lot of free data that he provides. Again, I do recommend him. I recommend you following him if you are interested in this data. And don't forget to sign up for ResiClub. So as you can see, some interesting things going on right now in the market. If you start seeing the shift, in certain areas of the state, but as a state as a whole, we're pretty much flat. So, I want to give you more data and more transparency on, what's actually really going on, because there's just so many headlines, right? And it's in the news. And again, I'm not saying anything won't change in the future, but currently, we're, as a state, we're flat. Where I'm at, we're down 1% or 2%. In Orlando, they're growing. In Miami, they're growing. And people are moving. It is what it is. I'm just here to provide you the data. The market speaks, and the market's going to say what the price is going to be. Regardless of how we feel about it. It's where it's at. So I hope you found this data informative. If you did like this, subscribe. If you found it informational, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Share this video if you know anyone who's interested here in the Florida housing market and what's going on here in Florida. I would really appreciate that, so that way we can get this data out and information to other people, so they can see what's behind the headlines and what's really going on. So again, I appreciate you here for being with me today. I know this was a long one, and hopefully I didn't lose you with all that data. But again, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me right now. I appreciate that. If you need anything real estate wise, I'm here for you. 407-801-1661. I hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day, and I look forward to seeing you guys here again here in the near future. The new construction video is going to be starting here in about a week or two. I'm going to start working on that, and then once I get get all of the photos and everything I need to get taken care of here to send into the warranty company, into the builder, so we can get that corrected. Again, I want to walk you through that whole process, and it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I appreciate your patience if you've been waiting on that. So again, take care, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.